Okay, got in a couple of new things today. First one is the Gnarly FPV Primo V110X frame. It's a really neat little toothpick style frame. For 65mm props and I think like a diamond configuration, flight controller mainly, although it does have mounting holes for 16mm as well. And the other thing I'm checking out is the new HQProp 65mm. It's another in a growing list of 65mm props for these toothpicks. Here it is compared to the Gemfan one. And these are, I think, thicker at the root as well. Feel like they have a more complex shape than the Gemfans. So I'll be trying these out, and at some point I'll probably do a shootout with all the popular 65mm props at the moment. There are like 4 of them all together. So yeah, here, let's take a look at this frame. You might have seen this already. It's been out for a little while, and I think they just released an updated version, but first time I've tried it. And yeah, really neat design. Here, I'll show you one without electronics in it so you can see what's going on. So it has this little 3D printed center section, and as you can see, these brass inserts. Man, the flight controller just sits in here in this 3D printed part where the rubber grommets go there, and then you screw it in, and that holds it. It actually, I mean, it allows it to move quite a bit, but that didn't seem to affect it in flight. And then the canopy then screws down into these holes. Pretty ingenious, pretty elegant, and this canopy is actually wide enough to hold a 19mm camera. So with my Runcam Racer Nano, I did have to use the adapter to make it fit in there, but it was a great fit. And I'm using the electronics that I did have in the APIC racing toothpick frame. So that's the iFlight F4 12-amp all-in-one with the stackable VTX 25 to 200 milliwatts and the XM Plus receiver. And everything in there is kind of tall, so once again I did have to raise the canopy up a little bit to clear everything. If you had different hardware, you could probably just mount it straight down, which would be just a little bit sleeker, but still not bad. And this weighs about 45 grams dry weight, about 2 grams less than the same electronics in this build, so that's pretty impressive. And for now, I'm using rubber bands to hold the battery in place. I did want to use one of the 3D printed battery mounts that came with it, but all of them were, well, they're all two. I mean, these are for 1S batteries, and then this is the biggest mount that it comes with, and this is the smallest battery I have, a 2S300, and it will barely fit in there, and I hesitate to squeeze it in there all the time. So for the time being, I'm just going to use these rubber bands, and it actually wasn't as cumbersome as I thought it would be to use that. I'm going to try to get into 3D printing, and if that is a success, I'm going to print a bigger battery mount so I can more easily use the batteries that I want. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, I want to fly it on a 2S300, mainly because I have been having some trouble getting these motors to fly well on 3S. These, at least I'm blaming the motors at the moment, these Hyperlite 1103 8000 kVs. No matter what I seem to do with the tune, every once in a while it will oscillate in turns, and I can't get rid of it. And then when I fly it on 2S, it flies great. It doesn't seem to matter what the PIDs are. It flies fantastically, and I don't have to do any throttle scaling. So I thought, I'm going to fly this with a really light 300 2S and see how it goes. And I did that, and it actually flew really well. I was really happy with how it was, and I think for these particular motors anyway, I think a 2S is a better match. Whereas like on a sail flight, 2S feels a little bit weak. On this, the 2S didn't feel weak.